Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice, and we have an awesome episode. I think I'm a little biased, but we have an awesome episode lined up today. We're going to get outside of our own businesses. I find that business owners get so stuck and wrapped up in building your own business. It's your baby, right? How could you not? I've been there myself, so I get it. But we ignore the world around us. And there are other ways to build your wealth, make money, and kind of take the pressure off of building your business, if you will. So we're going to dive into a success story and then also alternative ways to make money, invest your money while you are building and scaling your own successful business. We're going to do all of that with an amazing guest, Sean Tepper, the CEO and founder of a company called Tepper. More about that later. But Sean, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Brandon, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
So I am super excited for this conversation for a number of reasons. One, I do not use the very tool we are talking about today, and I'm excited to learn more about it. So we will talk about, yes, investing in the stock market, in stocks, but also I want to hear your story. You've built an incredible company here, and I want to hear how that came to be. So give me the background on you as an entrepreneur. How did you come to create Tepper, and what is Tepper as well?
You got it. I'll take like 2 to 3 minutes here and then we'll unpack from there. So the overarching career path has about 20 years in business, primarily in tech. Built my first company in my 20s. It was just an agency, a service business. Tried to build that through the recession and made like no money, but we did grow very quickly in our fourth year, 2010. And a larger agency approached us and said, hey, we want to acquire you. And it wasn't like a check was written. It was all debts and liabilities wiped clean. A service business, as some of your listeners know, the multiple and selling that kind of business is very hard. So that's something to keep in mind as well when you're building a business. If it's a service business, you do want other streams of revenue or other ways to build wealth. Otherwise, you can end up in a nasty situation in your 50s, 60s, or 70s where you can't sell your business. But anyway, at that point, I wanted to flip the equation from working for money to have money working for me. And I knew investing was a great place to do that. I took a different approach. I got into angel investing. I thought I was a smart guy in my upper 20s who sold his first business. It's like, oh, I'll just go do that with a tech business now. No, much more difficult. So I had a few failures along the way. In parallel to that, I got into corporate contracting, project management. I worked for some large companies, including GE, Kohler, a few others, but I got an inside look on how big businesses operate. And that was crucial education. I planned to do that 2 years and it turned into 12 years leading up to what I'm doing now. But I learned the wrong way to invest. And then I flipped that equation to 2015, found some tips from Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger and a few other guys, one guy by the name of Phil Town, and how to do this correctly. Because I know these guys are able to beat the market consistently, but you and I both know they're not gambling men. They don't use feelings or emotions, which means they're using some sort of logic. So I kind of reverted back to my, I don't have an engineering background, but it's mostly project management. But it's like, okay, so it's logic. What is that logic? So put together an Excel sheet, use it for about 4 years. Average returns were between 15 and 50%. 2019, I start talking to people, including some retail investors, just regular guys like you and I, and showing them this Excel sheet. And their response was, when are you going to turn this into a software to share with others? And that was the green light. And that took about a year to build the first version. Took 6 months to get the first paying customer. And I knew that because I've been building software for, over a decade by this point. And I knew the strategy is you want to bring as many customers into your platform first for free, but to get feedback really fast. What do you like? What don't you like? And then turn it into something people will pay for. Fast forward to today, we've got a little over 9,000 customers in about 50 countries. And we're really proud of this because we place a high emphasis on customer service. We have a 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. So I'll stop there.
That's amazing. Let me highlight that too, because we've talked about this with a number of guests who have grown very large, successful companies. Every single one of them has put an emphasis on customer service. Not saying that's the only thing you need to do to grow a business, but definitely take some notes here if you're listening. That's very important. One of the most recent ones is the episode, I believe it's 107 with Jonathan Wethington. So go back and listen to that one if you haven't already. But Sean, yeah, that's phenomenal advice. Can I dive in a little bit? I'm curious. This spreadsheet, this Excel spreadsheet that you had, what you were actually investing in the market and then just tracking your investments and returns. Give me a little bit more detail.
So thanks to Phil Town, I mentioned his name earlier, on the calculations on how to value a business. To really, because you'll be on YouTube or a podcast or Reddit or Twitter, whatever, and you hear everybody talking about XYZ stock, but nobody knows truly if it's a good or bad investment. So based on the valuation techniques that Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger use, and that Phil Town kind of formulated in his books, I was able to kind of take those equations, put them in Excel. I added my own flavor. I wanted to create a gamified system from 0 to 100. 100 is best of the best, and it's very rigorous. So for context, in our platform today, there are about 40,000 stocks. Only about 10 get to about 100 out of 100. It's very hard. But that way, the higher the score, the safer the investment. So anyway, I use this Excel sheet to create like a stoplight rating system, like green or red. Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Remove emotions from the equation. And yeah, I was able to find really strong stocks and keep buying those every month. And that allowed me to beat the market. And to be transparent, it's not anything fancy. This isn't penny stocks or IPO stocks or piece of junk, tech stocks that came out 2 days ago that everybody think is going to the moon. It's like, no, this is safe value investing at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's, I think, more valuable than the junk stocks that everyone wants to talk about on podcasts and on social media. So that's fantastic. But then your creation of the software and the building of the company, take me through that, not the software creation part, because I'm sure you had very smart individuals who are good at computers building the software.
Yeah.
But the creation of the company, that's always fascinating for me. So you onboarded a bunch of people, or as many as possible, for free. You got that feedback.
Yep.
What was the general consensus around V1, if you will, and what did you do to move into where the software is today?
Yeah. So we're on V3, which will stick here for a while, but V1, and this is good advice for anybody creating a software, is don't worry about what it looks like. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, our V1 it looked like garbage, but it was enough to get out there, get feedback. Because I see people that make the mistake and work on software for years and then go to market. It's like, you just wasted a bunch of time and money. You just go to market with something that's really basic and simple. So I knew that because I built software before, and get it out there, get feedback, and then iterate. So we went to a V2, which a lot of lessons learned with people that were in the company temporarily, partners, key players, and they were leading us in the wrong direction. They wanted to pigeonhole the software so it was very simple and small. And it's like, that's not what our customers are looking for. They want something that's equivalent to our competitors, but a little better. So you have to engineer software that allows you to keep adding features without it being cluttered. And they didn't know how to balance that. So they had to go. There are multiple reasons too, but I really found that you need to find the right people that are aligned with your mission, and not your mission. It's really the customer's pain, like removing their pain. And that's a key. We could drill into that for hours on people who start businesses, but really don't have empathy for the pain the customer's having. You need to put yourself in that position. You have to get on Zoom calls. You have to peel back the onion. And these other people in the company, they would never do that. They would never talk to the customer. I'm like, you got to go. So we're in a good place now, but it's really, to be honest with you, Brandon, it's really about listening to the customer, truly listening and creating something that changes their life. That is all about creating good software.
Yeah, that's, we talk about that with our clients all the time. That's where we start, is understanding what is the mission of the company and how does that not serve you, but serve your customer. So yeah. we are speaking the same language. Every single company, regardless of industry or product, should start there. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Mhm.
So thank you for saying that. Now, with the creation of the software and getting people to it, especially in this industry, in the stock market, you have massive platforms who have been around for decades at this point.
Mhm.
What was your, I'm curious to unpack from the marketing
Yeah.
side. That's one of the things that we want to talk about here today is how did you get people to the platform? Because even to get them there for free, like they might be on another platform that they love, they've used for
Mhm.
15 years. So what was that process like?
So to kind of zoom out and look at our model, there are really two types of business models in our space. You're either a broker, which is like a Robinhood or a TD Ameritrade or E-Trade, where you connect your bank account, and that's where you buy and sell stocks. I will say this: the world does not need another broker. There are there are hundreds, if not thousands, of brokers, and they all do the same thing. Just based on where you're located in the world, they allow you to buy different stocks. Where we're at is a screener, and we kind of want to step further, a screener and educational platform. Now there's a few players in the market. I always say good things about our top customers. Seeking Alpha and Simply Wall Street are awesome, but they are screeners. You log in, you can read about stocks, you can see valuations, you can understand to some degree, is it a good investment or is it something I should avoid? Now when you take a step back, you look at a broker and a screener as kind of like you've got a car and gasoline, or if you drive electric, it's electric. You need both. If you only use a broker, you're not going to go anywhere. You need your broker, aka your vehicle, and then you need your screener, which is aka your fuel. They got to work together, and that's how you invest successfully. And with our space as screeners, there's not too many competitors in the market. Now, when you zoom out again, what do venture capitalists like more? They like brokers because it's transaction fees. We are a SaaS. SaaS is great, but it's not the top of the food chain. Transaction fee business models are the trump card. So we're bootstrapped. We've got a ton of no's from VCs, but that's okay because I bootstrapped other businesses in the past, and I know the path. Now it's a good place to be because we are on this path as a screener, but how do we create a blue ocean? If you're familiar with that term, is you take something that's really successful in another industry and apply it to yours. And I always looked at Duolingo, what they do with language learning, the micro modules, and how you can learn really quickly. I'm like, we need to make our screener incorporated with learning modules that are like Duolingo. That will get people from A to Z up to speed as fast as possible with education and confidence better than anything. So we got the mobile app coming out here in the next few weeks, which will have those learning modules like Duolingo built in. That is how we separate. So I know I talked a lot here, but to kind of look back on how we got customers, it's really provide a great product and allow your customers to share it with their friends and family, like a share friend feature for 15% off. Little hacks like that work. We know our audience is hanging it on YouTube, so we really lean into YouTube generate leads. And I've got a lot of experience with SEO. It's not an overnight success, but you put it in place, you do it right. To give you context, about 17% of our leads come from SEO, but it's like 2 years later after putting it in place. So anyway, I'll stop there.
No, that's fantastic. Honestly, I was surprised you said that because, yeah, the blue ocean strategy, everybody's heard that, but to say Duolingo, I mean, that's not even remotely close to what you're doing. And actually, you said in the next couple of weeks, by time this episode goes live. So if you're
Yeah.
listening to this or watching this, that app is now live,
Yeah.
unless there's been significant delays. But we will assume that there's a link to that below in the show notes. And I'll also,
Yeah.
while we're talking here, I'll put a link to your website here on the screen. So if you want to go check out ticker.com, TYKR.com, because the normal word was taken, obviously, because the stock market took that.
Ticker. If you can imagine, the word was inside there's a whole spreadsheet of ideas I went through, and which one is 2 syllables? Because with a tech business, you want like a Google or Netflix or Facebook. Okay, 2 syllables and 4 letters. How do I do this? So that's where ticker came from.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think this is awesome. So I'm also curious now looking forward. You are where you are now. You have a stable
Mhm.
platform. You have people using it. It's you said V3, which you're going to be on for a while.
Mhm.
What's the next level of well, you just hinted at the app, but what's the next level of innovation? Where are you taking the company to make the user experience even better and make people more confident in investing in the stock market?
Yeah, I'll give you a kind of like a look under the hood on what's coming up. So we're working on a projections feature right now, so you can see like the 1 year, 5 year, and 10 year projections of stocks and where they will be. We'll be using the ticker fair value, which is a projection algorithm. We'll also use Phil Town. We'll use Ben Graham. If you know his name, he was the mentor of Warren Buffett. And then we'll use discounted cash flow, and you can see 4 different angles where it's going. We'll also have a proven results page, which is kind of like showing in general what do stocks in ticker perform against the S&P 500. Spoiler alert, they do beat the market because we have a really simple rating system of on sale, watch or overpriced stocks. On sale stocks typically beat the market, and just gives everything I'm talking about here is really focused in on one word. If your audience can really narrow down their marketing, you don't need these long taglines or mission statements or vision statements that are confusing as hell. Like, you want to focus on what is one word your audience gravitates more than anything. And we found with A/B testing, it's confidence. People don't care. They care, but they don't really like getting rich and making more money than your next door neighbor, or talking about stocks and making your brother look stupid in front of mom at Thanksgiving. Like, none of that mattered. It's one word: confidence. And so everything we do, we ask that question: does this feature provide more confidence? So those are two big ones. We will also add broker connections here this year, so you can connect your broker, and when you make trades, they automatically update in Ticker's portfolio tracker. There's a bunch of cool features. But anyway, I'll stop there.
No, that's super cool. I love it. And the reason I love this conversation is, like I said in the beginning, we do get way too focused on building our own businesses. And when you look up, it's too late. You can't look up when you're 65 and say, I'm ready to sell my business. I don't know who to sell to. And also I have no money because I never did anything besides this business.
Exactly.
And I meet too many business owners who are in that position or approaching that position. So that's why I love this conversation. And I already told you, I disclosed that I do not invest in the stock market. I have other investments, but this has been an area for me that I've just put off because I didn't have the time and it was confusing. I had no confidence, is the word that you used.
Yeah.
And I personally am now excited to dive into this platform and see how I can get educated, because that's what it's all about for me. And I think a lot of people, it is confusing, and you don't want to take all that money you made in your business and throw it at something and lose it, it can easily happen if you're not well educated. And then to go and use a human being can cost a lot of money. It can also be confusing, and there's a whole lot of things there we won't unpack on this episode. But I really appreciate you coming on and helping us understand this. So what would be that one thing for a small business owner to kind of get their feet wet in the education side of things and start to build up that confidence? Would you say, it's like, go invest in one stock today? Or how long would you say to really understand the platform and use it before you even invested your first dollar?
A lot of our customers, they have given us testimonials that they're usually up to speed with high confidence within 30 days.
Wow.
You can get up to speed. And some people said 7 days or less. I mean, it really guides you to the right businesses. But I'm talking to business owners here. And like you just mentioned, too many people put all their eggs in one basket. They don't have money set aside. And you have to kind of zoom out and realize that. And I tell my audience this, and they appreciate this. I don't invest in the stock market, and I don't invest in stocks. I invest in businesses. It's that mindset, like Warren Buffett. So I know the money I'm making, sure, I'm investing some back into my own business, but I'm also attaching that money to other businesses that have proven to generate big results for customers. And that's what you want to do, is attach your money to them and let that grow on autopilot. So you've got multiple avenues of revenue. They say, average multimillionaire has 7 streams of income. This is just one of those streams you're using to build your wealth. Because again, going all in on your baby, your business, is not a smart play.
No, definitely not. And I actually, one of the things you said in the beginning of the episode, before we wrap up here, that really struck me was my grandmother handed me a check when I was in college, just about to graduate college. And she said, you can't use this to spend. She said, the best advice I can give you is to have your money working for you, not you work for your money, which is exactly what you said in the beginning of the episode. I've held on to that advice since then. That was like 15 years ago when she gave me that money. And that single little shift in my mindset has propelled me to make decisions. It's always there when I make a decision around money. So very, very sound advice here, Sean. I do have one last question here, and
Sure.
it's a question for a question, because we believe at What If that powerful questions get you powerful answers. That's why there's an obnoxious lit up question mark behind me. If you're watching, you can see that too. But I want to know what's the one question you can leave with the listener in terms of, we want to get out of the day-to-day operations of running our business. That's step one. Step two is to also have these other one of seven investment streams, income streams, to help us grow our long-term wealth. So what would that question be based on this episode that the listener can walk away with and really take and digest and think about to help them get one step closer to that long-term wealth building? What would you say that question is?
If I were asking myself the question, what if I take this step forward and I find some really solid businesses and I look 10 years ahead, what would your past self say?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what, your past self would kick you in the butt if you didn't do it. So start now.
I wasn't going to say it. So I'm glad you did, but that's it.
Yeah, that's the general consensus about everything is you can't go back 10 years, but you can start now and be surprised with where it gets you. So Sean, thanks for being an amazing guest and unpacking this. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate the invite. Thank you.
For those of you watching and listening, wherever you are, first of all, thank you. Love having you here. We put this show on for you so you can get outside that box of wherever you are in your business and continue on your path to grow your business and get out of the operator seat one day at a time. Also visit Tepper.com. There's 14-day free trial. You can go test out the platform, get up to speed in 7, and then have 7 to make your money back. Love that. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.